Ex who dumped me because she thought I cheated now wants to get back in touch. So right from the start, she's not entirely at fault here. When I was younger, 19, I cheated in one of my relationships. The circumstances don't matter, it could have been handled differently. I cheated, and that's that. Fast forward to when I was 23, I met Alice. Alice was an absolute blast. I never really connected to another person like I did with her. We got serious from the second time we saw each other and started dating exclusively right away. Even though it had been a while since my one and only time of cheating, I still felt like that was something you should disclose to anyone you're getting serious with. I told her about it, she talked, wanted to know more in depth about that situation, but ultimately it didn't matter for her because in her own words, I was a completely different person now. Here's where the trouble starts. Her friends. They were all nice with me in the beginning, but as the relationship kept going on, nearing the 1-year mark, they grew kind of standoffish with me. I didn't really feel welcome or like I was a part of the group if Alice and me went out with them somewhere. Then all of a sudden, that changed. They were all welcoming to me, really friendly, hanging out and physically affectionate. I'm not that way myself, but I like it when others are that way with me. It shows they care, I guess. One day, Alice's best friend, Samantha, asks me to hang out for a bit. Samantha was someone who was always friendly with me, even during the short period when the others weren't. At one point, I even helped her get through her ex cheating on her, due to her knowing my past and wanting some different perspective on the matter. Anyway, I'm out with Samantha in the local park, just talking and waiting patiently to tell me what's wrong. But instead, she plants a kiss on me, and it's pretty intense. She grabbed me by the face and just tried to shove her tongue in my mouth. I pushed her off almost immediately. She starts saying she's sorry, that she didn't mean this to happen, etc., and so on, and then quickly excuses herself and leaves. Meanwhile, I'm completely at a loss as to what happened, and I don't call Alice straight away, as I'm still kind of in shock. When I do end up calling Alice, I found out Samantha already called her and told her what happened. Except, not really. According to Samantha, I'm the one who kissed her first and started making out before she put a stop to things. Cue a lot of drama, a lot of name-calling, a lot of begging on my part to be believed. But it didn't work. Alice and me were history. None of the people from her group of friends are even answering my calls or messages. I just wanted to know why this all happened. But I don't get that. I don't get answers or closures. My girlfriend didn't believe me. She didn't even break up with me in person. It was over a phone call. So I sunk into a depression, no surprise. A couple of friends stuck by me, helped me get through, but for more than 2 years now, I've avoided any chance to meet new people, or if someone expressed any interest in me, I would just ignore it. I got an email yesterday from Alice. It's still here, sitting on my screen. It starts off with a million apologies, because she found out the truth about what happened recently. The whole thing with Samantha was premeditated. The whole fucking friend group was in on it. They didn't like that Alice and I were getting serious, that we were talking about moving in together after being together for less than a year. Samantha decided to be the one to kiss me, because apparently I seemingly clicked the best with her out of all of them, and the cheating thing would be most believable that way. The others backed up her stories about how close we were at the group meetings. Yeah, I know. It's so fucked up. Alice has only found out about this a week ago from one of the people who had a falling out with the rest of the group, and on their way out, they wanted to blow up the whole thing with every dirty little secret they had. She then tells me she hasn't dated anyone since we broke up. She didn't have the will to try again after our relationship. She just studied and hung out with her friends. After she found out the truth, she says she cried for days, because she really did love me, even after the breakup, because a part of her couldn't believe it happened, the cheating. She's begging me to get together with her, even if only just for some closure, just for one date where she can apologize in person. I haven't responded yet, because I don't know what to say. For a year or more after the breakup, I fucking dreamed of this happening. Her finding out the truth, us coming back together better than ever, but now there's nothing. My heart didn't skip a beat. I don't feel anxiety or anticipation of any sort that might have happened due to meeting her. To put it short, I don't know what to do. Do I agree to her request about meeting up? And if so, do I end up giving us two a go again? I'm not sure if I could. I'm not sure if I feel anything anymore for her. My best friend says that might just be me preemptively protecting myself from more hurt, but I don't know. In the comments, Discard user account says, OP, I think you ought to meet up at least once. Give her a chance to apologize in person. See if the spark is still there. If you don't, you will always wonder. But be wary, she says she's sorry. She says she's cut her friends off and has nothing to do with them. Well, talk is cheap. Remember, she was friends with them for years. She may be just as toxic as they are. OP asks, how do I recognize if that's true or not? Well, for starters, I would check whether or not she still talks with said friend group. Only if she no longer speaks to them would I consider going back to her, but those are my thoughts. I'm conflicted on this. On one hand, she chose to believe her collective group of friends before ever hearing your side of things. But then again, if you were in a similar position and the majority of the people that you trusted told you a harsh truth about your significant other, would you not believe them from having your back? It's been 2 years after the fact. You closed yourself off due to this. She claims to have done the same. Maybe that's true. I honestly don't know. If you feel nothing, you may consider meeting her. You don't really have anything to lose. I might suggest something different if you weren't so detached from dating, but seeing her might give you a sense of closure in order to either move on or give what could have been another shot. I also suggest seeing if her claims of not seeing anyone in between are true. You were broken up, so she was technically free to do her thing. But considering the circumstances of your breakup, you may feel different if you choose to give it another shot and find out she lied about seeing other people. OP says, I forgot to say that all of them are her childhood friends, people she's known for more than 20 years. It's not that I found her believing them over me to be implausible. I guess I just wished that she'd have trusted my version of the story. Look, she's just as much of a victim as you are in this situation. The question is whether any feelings remain after all the drama. Hard one. Very brutal. I think it is a question of whether you're going to regret not meeting up with her if you choose not to, if you are going to hold that against yourself. I put myself in her shoes, and I can see that she didn't really have a good choice to make here, though I do think she should have heard you out and seen what you had to say, because yeah, you cheating again after making such a song and dance of cheating the whole way through the relationship, helping her good friend through the cheating as well, giving your perspective. I don't know why she chose to just instantly believe the group instead of giving you the benefit of the doubt, at least a little bit. But it was all premeditated. She had tribal warfare against her. There was no winning in this situation. I do think that you deserve her apology, at least face-to-face, after getting broken up with over text, over the phone. And you can go and decide if whatever looks she gives you, whatever remorse she feels, you decide if that's real or not, if you want. Maybe seeing her could give you some peace, could give you closure in whatever form that might take, but I'm not sure if you can rebuild that relationship that was maliciously destroyed in that way. I don't know if that would work. From my point of view, I don't think it works, but hey, curious to see if it does. And now, onto the update. I decided to give my ex-girlfriend that one meetup for her sake. I honestly wasn't expecting to gain anything from this myself, but I still remembered how much I cared for her. So I figured that I could do this one thing, and we could both move on with our lives. Meeting her in person, though, that was a whole different thing. I don't know how to describe this feeling, but it was quite like anticipation, like when you're just expecting something to happen and don't know if it's good or bad. Now that I look back on it, I know I was hoping for good. We talked a great deal when we met and ended up staying out for hours. A great deal of it was her sincerely apologizing for not believing me and breaking up with me over the phone without even giving me a chance. But in truth, I couldn't blame her, and I told her as much, since these were all people that she grew up with. She didn't really have a reason to not believe them, since they never did this sort of thing before. This was followed by some shit-talking of her former friends, and that was kinda nice. And we ended up having a few laughs over it, even though I could tell that she was sad by what happened. She's only got 2 friends now, an older woman from her workplace and a girl her age from a hobby workshop. They seem to be good for her, at least from what she's saying, but she admits that occasionally she misses what she had with her previous friends, if not the people themselves. I really did end up feeling better from that one talk, and when the time came to go our separate ways, she asked me if I would be open to talking with her more in the future. Alice was upfront about her hoping that there still might be something between us in the future, but she wasn't pushy about it. Anyway, I told her I wouldn't know, but also told her to just talk when she feels like it, and I might or might not reply. We exchanged numbers, and that was it for the day. Without dragging this out any further, we started dating again. Talking ended up bringing back how I used to feel about her, but I was holding back for a lot of the time, and she was very patient with me. Never tried to push too much, never tried to just pick up from where we ended. It's basically dating like we've never dated with each other in some way. I'm not sure if I can describe it properly, as English isn't my first language. I guess it's got that good part of where you're getting to know someone and actually enjoying doing so. A lot of talk about trust has been had. Just a few days back, when after a night out, she invited me to her place, I knew what this was about obviously, but I wasn't 100% sure. I guess I was just being cautious on some level. Alice seemed to sense it and let me off with some words of how I might need some rest for work in the morning so she would understand. I can't really tell you how that made me feel exactly, but it just showed me that she cared. She cares, and I went up with her, and it was something I really fucking missed. It's not just 2 people together, it's her and me together. So yeah, we're together, we're dating, and we're taking it a bit slowly, but I'm happy. And she's happy, and things are good. In the comments, Move Interesting says, wow, not 1 shit friend, not 2 shit friends, a whole flock of shit friends. What is wrong with people? Edit to add, does it also not occur to them that if they're all doing this to her, they might do the same to each other? If real, imagine hanging out with your friends for 2 whole fucking years. Sad. And not dating anyone, only to find out they fucked your life up and have a nice old group chat going the whole time, talking about your sad, pathetic life that they caused. Oof. Your entire support system conspires to blow up your partnership because they're jealous you aren't spending as much time hanging out with them anymore. It's a literal nightmare. I can scarcely imagine what a horrible rollercoaster this was for Alice. Romance with OP aside, I hope she has a new group of trustworthy friends. I don't think they did it because she wasn't around that much. The trigger was moving in together. Some people react real badly when the friend they see as beneath them reaches a milestone first. There's no mention of other boyfriends in the group, that, in my opinion, it was plain bitterness. You know what, maybe they all deserve each other then. Maybe time has healed the wounds that OP and his now girlfriend again have suffered, you know? I'm glad that he gave it a shot. I'm glad that he heard her out and they had a fantastic time together. And you know what? She did earn that second chance. She was patient and respectful and built that trust back up with OP over time. I think that is very healthy and very lovely to see. I hope that nothing like this ever happens again to those two. They've been through a lot, and that OP's now girlfriend doesn't have the desire to talk to those people again and to reintegrate them into her life in some capacity. It's entirely possible, and I would hate for that to happen. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update, OP. Our next post is by user ThrowRainSidious2, titled, I found out my female 19, manager, male 29, has an after-work podcast where he talks about his employees. No, you're not reading the title wrong. I thought my friend John was pulling my leg when he told me, but he recently found out and told me about it because I was mentioned in said podcast. For background, This is an office job, and I am interning as a phone rep mostly, while also in college. John showed me the podcast that someone showed him after finding it, and that's how I found out. Long story short, it's one of our managers, Josh, and his friend on the podcast, and his friend doesn't work at the company. He doesn't solely talk about his employees on the podcast. He also does sports/politics, but the segment where he did was about work stories related to his job. And I'll refrain from the actual title for obvious reasons. One of the clips that John showed me was about a girl who went on maternity leave and the girl who replaced her temporarily. And he made jokes comparing them, using their first names, and even called her replacement R-worded. However, the clip about me involved my Instagram. Long story short, I haven't used my Instagram in years, and my last post was literally 4 years ago, when I was in high school in 15. Maybe I should have had it private, and I've since deleted it this week. On the podcast, he talked about how some of the managers follow each other and some of the employees, but there were a few that he didn't follow that led him to searching them up to learn more about his team, and that's how he came across mine. He said that I had a hidden talent of dance from high school that I didn't tell him about, and he joked that it was because I didn't want to be hit on. He also said my boyfriend must be happy with my flexibility, even though I'm single, and his friend said that that was the reason I posted, and that my face wasn't doing it. Oh my god. I can see why they want to ban podcast mics from blokes. That's definitely maximizing free will. Josh also joked about if I was still flexible, and his friend said to drop something to have me bend down. Josh is a jokester at work, but I was floored by his video. It's on YouTube, and while it doesn't show his face, his name is in the description, and my friend wants to address it with HR after telling the mother who was on maternity leave. However, he's not sure if there's anything else that we should do beforehand, besides having numbers, when we go in, that he thinks will be important, and he wants us to go in together. So here's my question. Are we handling this correctly, and is there anything else that we should do beforehand to get our ducks in a row? Perhaps even legally, such as consulting a lawyer. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to get legal involved in this. Definitely HR definitely is high up in the ranks as you can in the company to get some sort of punishment for them talking shit about you directly and using your first name outside of the workplace, which is not acceptable at all. And then to make these comments about you at 15 years old as well. Yeah, no, I would want that off the internet personally. At a minimum, I'd want that off the internet. Going further than that, I would want HR to fire his ass and have this on his record or something. Because what they're saying is incredibly fucked up, and they have their names attached to this. My generation was beaten over the head with digital footprint this, digital footprint that for a goddamn good reason, and this is one of them. We need to reintroduce shame. And now onto the first update. As I'm writing this, I'm no longer at the company. My coworker and I went to HR, according to the advice we received, and we used a YouTube downloader to download the videos specifically mentioning employees in case they'd be deleted upon him learning of a potential investigation. I also made sure to tell them that the dance videos he commented about me were from when I was much younger. And we also mentioned his derogatory comments about the coworker on maternity leave. We gave them the links, along with a thumb drive containing copies of the videos we downloaded, and we felt like it went fine at the time. We only received one follow-up meeting afterwards to let us know that they spoke to the manager about it and that the meeting was given separately to my coworker and I. The videos were also deleted around that time, and the manager was never fired, at least when I was there for a few more months. The follow-up meeting was the last update we got before months of radio silence, but my ex-coworker and I have a guess as to why. All of the managers, including the 2 HR workers at our office, are tight, and they all often go out for sushi after close in the same plaza as our office too. They also follow each other on social media, although the manager's podcast was never linked to his personal social from what we saw before going to HR, so we weren't exactly expecting much when they're practically friends and post Instagram photos together, including the HR managers with them too. Months went by with no updates following the follow-up, and said podcast manager began to treat me somewhat differently, like being short with me or giving me side eyes too. Even the mother on maternity leave made a complaint after we told her about his comment, but again, nothing came from it to our knowledge. I eventually put in my 2 weeks, and that was pretty much it. His podcast channel is still up and posts new episodes, but nothing pertaining to work or co-worker stories from when I last checked. My co-worker friend said he wouldn't be surprised if the other managers already knew about the podcast given how tight they were. I began looking for other work around the time we initially visited HR because he really came off as a creep. There was another comment from the video about me that I forgot to add, but he said that he should offer a prize for whoever had the best split at the annual Christmas party as a way to see if I still had them. They play fun games at the Christmas party, and the whole thing just felt gross to me. I'd already left the company by the time of the party, but it's creepy knowing that a manager I thought was completely normal could be such a creep. And now to the new update. So one of my biggest regrets from my old job was not getting legal advice before talking to HR. Some suggested going to HR instead, and my parents did too. I took their advice because I was 19 at the time, but now I regret not following my own instinct. Perhaps it wouldn't have gone to court, but a lawyer could have offered better advice on how to approach HR and potentially receive some sort of settlement, as some stated. The reason I'm thinking about it again is because of a new video that Josh posted on his podcast that my ex-coworker told me about. Josh and his buddy made a video about a new job he landed before leaving the office that I used to work out. And in the episode, he reflected on some things from his previous job too. He opened up about why the work story segment stopped and how someone complained to HR about it. He said that the work stories would continue at his new place, but that they'd have fake names so that no one could accuse him of anything. Despite saying that he wouldn't go into full detail about the HR incident, he said that someone got offended about how he said that he looked up the social media of his employees to learn more about them in a since-deleted episode. He also said some people popped up randomly, like how Instagram suggests people that you should follow. He also said that people shouldn't be offended when people see their posts because they shared it to the world. So if they didn't want anyone to see it, they never should have posted it in the first place. And while he didn't mention me by name, he referred to me as the girl who did dance and complained to HR about him. He also pointed out how I later left the company and was always quiet, which was why he looked me up. He said that his comments about me were a joke and that I couldn't take it as such. He also said he went along with his idea at the Christmas party, where each manager suggests a game with a prize to see who had the best split, and I didn't attend because I had already left the company. The fact that he was allowed to do that game that he mentioned in the video that I downloaded and gave to HR, where he wanted to see if I could just do the splits, shows the lack of seriousness regarding my complaint, unless they somehow forgot or didn't watch the full video. Josh's entire video was making excuses for what happened, and the only lesson that he learned was to make future names anonymous for work sites. He also said my dance posts from high school were thirst traps and that I used it against him with HR. In light of his recent video vaguely mentioning me, I reached out to a counselor at my job to ask if it'd be appropriate to reach out to his new job that he actually mentioned in his podcast about what happened at his previous job, with the downloaded proof of him sexualizing me and calling the other employee R-worded from his now deleted podcast. And she said that it would be appropriate. She also pointed out how he openly sexualized me for the splits and then proceeded to have a competition about them at the Christmas party. So there's enough there to hopefully prevent it from happening to someone else after I try. My friend who alerted me to the video is also open to backing my claim. I also want to add something about how tight the managers were at my old job. 2 of those managers are now engaged, as confirmed via social media. Most of the managers often went out to eat after shifts at a sushi place in our plaza, but you'd see photos of them together at other things on their social media, with the lead HR manager too. I'm glad to no longer work there, because it felt impossible to receive support when they're practically close friends. In the comments, Detective Jetpack says, "Wildly appalling. So she was 15 at the oldest in the Splits video that he not only sexualized, but then recreated en masse at work for his and his cronies' sick joke. I hope to several deities that she connected with his new work and they care more than his old work, besties. Why are people making podcasts about people in their own life behind their back? This one was just posted about roommates mocking their shy and mentally ill roommate. Too many people believe that they're interesting enough for lots of other people to shut up and listen to them out loud. Important lesson here is that HR is there to protect the company, not you. Sucks that this shitheel got away scot-free with his creepy behavior. Unless they're really bad at their jobs like these guys, because wow, that could have been a harassment lawsuit so fast. Yeah, it astounds me how risky HR are being here. I've seen HR fired for less. Exposing the company like this is just mind-boggling on their part. Again, disgusting, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that, OP. It sucks that they do have a friend group there that protects each other. They intentionally dropped the ball, and that's on them. That's not on you. It doubly sucks that you can't go back in time and tell 19-year-old you to be like, hey, get some lawyers involved. Let's make sure that there is some professional accountability had here, not just them getting away with it. Your new job has greenlit it. I think you should reach out to his new job. You need to protect other people there from going through the same thing. You've got every reason to speak up, especially with all the evidence that you have. And like that comment said, HR works for the company, not for you. So in future, let's get legal advice first if you can, so you're protected and you have a good game plan before reporting anything. You did the best you could with what you had available, and I hope that guy is never put into a management position again. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!